Welcome back to Kryptolytix, giving you a fresh take on crypto analytics. Today, we're going to go over the Solana chart, cover a few Solana-oriented things, and we're going to go look at the airdrop for Jupiter. So let's just get straight into it, shall we? Okay, so yes, I've been away for a while, haven't made any videos of late, but I guess we're starting to see people into the market again, so I figure maybe it's probably time to start making some videos again. I think for the better part of the last year and a half that I've been making videos, I think a lot of people kind of left the crypto space, which is pretty fair, but I've been here the whole time. If you've been following me on Twitter, you've been able to see the updates that I've been posting about all the trades. Like we've got the Aave short in now and the Solana long trade, which had a small losing short just before, but we'll have a look at the chart now and go through it just so we can sort of see where we're at now and a few sort of signs that we might be coming into a point of exhaustion, but we'll see how it goes, because with some of these things they don't always play out, right? And this is why I like to just trade signals and just follow a set number of rules and just basically regardless of how I feel, because I'm kind of in that disbelief phase, right? Which could be where we are in the market cycle at the moment. I'm kind of feeling that myself personally, that I'm not sure if we're ready for the bull run and the bull market just yet, because we can see these big pumps in price action, especially due to like the ETF news and all that sort of stuff. And then once that's priced in, then we probably either go sideways or have some pullbacks and just enter a new range. So altcoins don't move the same way as Bitcoin though, because that's kind of like what Bitcoin will do, but altcoins like Solana will move completely differently and they'll go in these crazy parabolic moves. So let's actually look at the Solana chart. We can see it on the screen here and you can see we're getting some top signals in. Let's just move this away. We don't really need that. So Solana's right now $58 and it hit a top of 68 roughly, and that's actually the 52-week high, which is crazy. And my initial thought with regard to this pump was it would just go up to some of these resistances and then basically stall. What I gathered was it was the pump into the Solana Breakpoint conference, and often we see with these conferences you get these big pumps into the conference and then when they're finished things exhaust and then we come down. Well, the Solana Breakpoint conference ended around here and then we've pumped an additional 55%, which is very impressive. So here, this is where I thought was kind of all priced in and then things would sort of start to roll over, but then we just kept going up. So let's have a look here at what happened. So back in September on the 19th, we triggered the long. This is on the daily chart, but this was still a very short term trade. It went for about 23 days, which is a pretty short period of time for some of this swing short, because we had this short here and this swing long here and this short. This was the first loss that was incurred with the Kryptolytix BB trend trader. So if we have a look here, just so you know, this is all calculated with the following amount of capital. So I 10x this on a $600 trade size. My spot position's obviously a lot bigger than this, but nevertheless, this is what I trade with on perps. So $6,000 trade size, $600 initial capital, so it's a 10x, and 0.04% is the commission for the exchange that I use. And these are the settings, which I've shown in many prior videos. You can see that the backtest goes back to around where FTX collapsed. So that's where the backtest goes back to. You can go back further or you can come back even more. Again, I've done videos on this many times, so I will not waste too much time on this video going through the settings of this. So what we did, so last time I created a video, geez, probably would have been back here, to be honest. So back in September, it's been a while. So what happened was, and I've been updating on Twitter the whole way. So I admitted defeat on the short. These things happen, and then we got straight into the long. I did say I was going to ladder all the way down, but it didn't. I was going to add more, but it didn't actually collect all of those orders. Basically, just triggered long here, and then just went absolutely parabolic since. So that trade right now is up $8,700. And basically I wanted to add up to 10k to the position, but anyway, that's sort of not part of the strategy. The whole point of this strategy was initially just let's just trade signal to signal, right? Just so it's easy to manage. And well, when I say manage, I mean you've put this in the strategy tester and okay, I started trading on this date, for example, say June or July or something like that. So in the strategy tester for this strategy, or actually in the actual settings, you can set the date you started, or you just set a little bit before that. And that way, if you're just trading the signals, and you only have to trade it or check the charts once a day, because it's when the candle opens / closes, that's when you'll get a signal. It just means it's a lot easier to keep track of, because you're like, yes, this is exactly what it is. Like, so you can keep logging to the exchange if you want, but I don't really log into my exchange unless I need to. I just stay logged out and log in when I need to. And so anyway, that's pretty much that. So this trade, yeah, it's 145%, which is actually insane, and that's not including the leverage. So is that not including the leverage? Yeah, that's not including the leverage. Let's look at just the price action from there to there. Wow, absolutely insane move on Solana. I just really wasn't expecting that. And it just kind of goes to show this little loss here, which was again, this is multiplied by 10. I'm gonna start bringing these settings up. Multiplied by 10. So the loss was it was a 12% loss. So 12%, not the best, right? It's, it's not nice, obviously, when you lose a trade, but hey, it happens, right? So basically that long was kind of just faked out because it curled over a bit. And let's just zoom into what we were looking like at the time, because this is what we were seeing, that big zoomed out crazy stuff. That's not what we saw at the time. So I managed to get a better entry because I had like a significant chunk down here. I've actually deleted the box, but if you go back to my previous video, there was a box right here that I was like, we're going to come straight into this level, and we did, which was pretty cool. And the reason why this isn't exactly on the signal is because I had laddered up. So it actually filled all of these orders that I had in here, because I was filling up to about here, and then flipped along, and I was like, all right, I guess I have to shift now. The only downside is I had USDC enough to buy another 400 Sol, and I forgot to buy. So I've just got all this USDC now that I would have deployed. Hey, but this stuff happens, right? I guess we just wait for the next sell, then the next buy. It will happen eventually. So this is why patience is important, and you always think about the long term when it comes to your spot. So anyway, it just went on an absolute tear, as you can see here. Smash this resistance, turn down to support. Smash this resistance, turn down to support. That's why there's a green box now. Smash this resistance, turn down to support. And these levels are horizontal resistances established all the way back last year. So we're talking very long-term price action, and that's why you saw these big tails here. But eventually those sellers were exhausted, and then we just continued up. So now we've got these more tails here, and this big rejection here hasn't completely engulfed the last day's candle. So it's not super bearish, but it is building for some sort of bearish confluence. We also have a negative divergence here on the RSI. Let's have a quick look over on, and I'm bullish, very bullish on Solana long term. You know what I mean? Like we're just talking short term here. Then this is why I believe we might be getting a pullback soon, but you never really know, do you? So I've been watching this. This is the stochastic heat map on the daily chart for Solana. So one big thing that I've been looking at is just how overheated this is. This is so red. I don't think we've seen it this red for quite some time. So I've got waves mode turned off. Look how oversold this was here, and for such a long period of time. So if we can get this oversold for such a long period of time, we can definitely get pinned into the red for a long period of time. But we really haven't seen this red since 2021, right? Look how intense this is. And then it kind of went sideways, rebuilt, more red. So let's have a quick look at what it looked like, the actual moving average for the stochastic heat map. So what I'm looking at the moment are these divergences. So have a look here. So we have this divergence here. We've got a peak here and another peak right next to it. And if you have a look at the actual price, you can see this peak was lower than this. Well, just by a little bit, but anyway, nevertheless, that's called a bearish divergence. So this is kind of what I'm looking at now, right? I'm actually looking for some potential bearish divergences. So higher, and then this is about the same here. So, but then this peak here, you get this stuff off the screen here, you can see this peak here is lower than all of this. So that's kind of what I'm looking for exhaustion of the trend. So we're in deep red territory. And as I said, we can get pinned here for some time. Deep red territory, and we're getting a bearish divergence. We got a lower high, lower high, lower high, 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 higher, high. What the hell is that? Anyway, so yes, there's basically, you can see just even based on these lines, you can see the lines on the stochastic heat map. We're getting extreme exhaustion of this trend. So that's sort of another thing where I think we might be, so another sort of case for a potential pullback. So yeah, I've basically taken all of the profit that I care to on my Solana trade, so I'm just going to leave it until the next signal, to be honest. But, you know, around here, it might be worth taking some profit if you've got a huge position and you haven't even taken any profit on it. That is completely up to you. I'll let you do what you wish with that. So I'm going to go through a series of market cap orientated charts just quickly. So right now we're going to have a look at the total market cap. So this is the total crypto market cap. This basically shows you if there's new liquidity coming into the system, right? And, you know, because you see some altcoins are absolutely tearing, for example, some coins in general are just absolutely tearing up, but it's not all coins, and some of this could be considered as a rotation of capital. So we actually have an all-time high, at least, well, not all-time high. We have a yearly high put in on the market cap. So as of the 22nd of October, we actually broke above this range, essentially, that we established the top back in April. And what we can see now is that we are sort of slowing down a bit. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 weekly bullish candles on the crypto market cap. We haven't even seen anything like that, I guess, since July 22. Oh no, we had 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've seen it a few times. We had it in Jan as well, right? But, you know, we might be just sort of starting like a slow trickle here, then maybe we roll over at some point once everyone gets really, really bullish, but who knows exactly what will happen? Nobody, but we can at least sort of draw a few conclusions. So we are starting to get some liquidity back into the market, some fresh liquidity, because we've actually broken out here. So if we're above this level, then that means this is fresh liquidity that's been sidelined since probably midway through 2022, so the bear market, where a lot of people left. And you can see this is where people were leaving the crypto space, and then we entered this sideways move here. So yeah, we are getting some fresh money into the system. Let's go straight to total 3 minus USDT minus USDC. So this is for all altcoins, not Bitcoin, not Ethereum, not major stable coins. They have been removed from this. And you can see here we established this downward sloping trend, and we've actually broken up above it. So, but if we have a look at horizontals, we're still stuck in this sideways range. You can see right here, there's our top here. Even just after the lunar collapse here, which was around here essentially, this is where we started to establish the range in August 22. So midway through the aggressive bearish trend. So essentially we've just created this sideways pattern, and we haven't actually broken above that at all. So that means that most of the liquidity has been going to Bitcoin, and you can see here on the Bitcoin dominance, currently at 52%, reached a high of 54%. There's another thing that's interesting that I actually wanted to draw some attention to, which I think is really cool, and I did post this on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, and that's that the Solana Dominance, so this is SolD, has hit, well, it did hit 2%, which is very impressive. Its all-time high was 2.8%, which is really not that bad. So when we have a look at the total market cap, that's 1.364 trillion US dollars, which is a lot of money. So 2% of that's still a lot of money. So we've actually backed off a little bit to 1.8%. But I think this is really quite fascinating, just to see that Solana's dominance, so how much of the market cap is occupied by Solana, is hitting levels we haven't seen since April, which is still where people were like, is this a pullback? Is this a bear market? We're not really sure. So we're so close to some of these high levels that we haven't seen since the bull market, because there's that rounded off dominance sort of shape that we saw at the start of the bear market. So pretty fascinating, huh? Pretty fascinating. So anyway, we're just watching Solana go absolutely ballistic, and it just makes you think that, well, if SBF and FTX and Alameda Research and all this sort of stuff were the source of the last pump, then this is literally just retail and maybe some fresh VCs. So whatever they did during that conference, it must have been impressive enough to attract a lot of retail attention, because 2% of the total market cap is actually very impressive, especially even considering just how close this is to the all-time high essentially. But if we have a look at just horizontal levels, we could see that, you know, if people were trading the SolD chart, which I'm not sure that they are, but if they are, then we've basically come into so there's some levels here and there basically, and that's connecting these supports and these resistances here. So that's kind of what we're looking at if people do look at the SolD chart, and there's our resistance, which we hit. So this is just something to consider, that we maybe hit a resistance on the SOL dominance. I just don't think this is a thing that everyone's really looking at yet, but maybe some people are. So that's just something to consider as well. So we're pretty overheated. But anyway, this long trade has been absolutely amazing. and I've been pretty happy that I managed to accumulate still a fair bit of Sol during the sort of lower prices, and just been watching it without that sort of greed and euphoria, just being kind of pragmatic and realistic about it. And I just don't believe we're in the proper bull market yet, because we could get a secondary scare via the announcement of a recession in the US or something to that effect. However, I'm still pretty happy, and I think anyone else who has a significant amount of Sol would be happy too. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the Jupiter Aggregator airdrop. Now, there's quite a few really good videos out there now with regards to this, so I probably won't go into too much of the detail. But what I will say is that this is something that I personally didn't expect, and it's not an airdrop that I even tried to do anything to farm, but I'm just fortunate that I really like Jupiter Aggregator, and it has been the #1 place that I've traded Sol tokens for the last 2 years, and basically as soon as it came out I started using it immediately. So I've been able to accumulate about $300,000 in volume, which is great, because that means I will get a small airdrop based on some of these charts that people have put together. So there's a cool website here. If you go onto my Twitter, in the link in the description below, you'll see I've posted on my profile. There's a cool link there where you can go and you can see what you are eligible for with the airdrop. So that's something that's definitely worth doing. And you can see I've actually posted a few, or reposted a few people's posts, which sort of give you some basic rundown on how to do that. So very cool that we might be getting a airdrop, something actually that I'm pretty sure I qualify for, which is cool. And yeah, you can just go through to this address and you can see for yourself what you are eligible for in the airdrop. This is what it looks like. You just paste your address in here, click check, and it'll tell you how much pith, points, and how much Jupiter volume you have traded. So that is very cool. And that's something definitely worth doing if you've been in the Solana ecosystem for the last couple of years and traded any amount on there. So, I mean, an airdrop is great, right? Free money. How can you really pass that up? So I guess one other thing as well is, like, people might be comparing this to something like 1inch or Uniswap or something like this. So I will say, if Solana gains the kind of network effect that people are at least projecting, then yes, it might be worth something to that effect. But again, Solana is just, I love it, obviously, because there's been so many things on this channel where I've actually talked about it almost predominantly. But I guess what I'm getting at with regards to this is that Solana will have to gain a fair amount of dominance and market share and attention and keep it sticky, I think, in order for it to be comparable to an ETH-based protocol. But I have my hopes, and I think that Solana is probably one of the biggest contenders for sort of taking on a big chunk of TVL that's hopefully not fake in the next bull run, but it goes time will tell. And as I said on my X, officially now I have a higher holdings in USD value than I do in Bitcoin, which is actually insane, and I did not realize that would happen, but here we are. This is how it is. You know, for basically many years, probably I would say 2016, that Bitcoin was always my biggest holding. In fact, I hated altcoins for so many years, but Solana is probably one of the first where I'm like, I really like this. I just really like it from a tech perspective. My background's in IT, so of course, anything that has really good and solid tech, I like. And yes, there has been network downtime. Yes, there's been some bugs, there's been some issues, but even AWS has had issues. Even Google's had issues. All of these companies have had issues before, and this is well into them being publicly used, not in beta, well established. So these things happen, and it's all growing pains, and hopefully that stuff will be alleviated in the future. So time will tell how that goes. But nevertheless, Jupiter is probably one of the biggest places that people actually trade on, because it's just so good. So I covered Jupiter in the last video I did as well, so it just seems like I'm beating a dead horse here. But Jupiter is basically just finds you the cheapest path to swapping tokens, for example. So when I stake Sol into MSol, I never use their interface, I just swap in Jupiter. If I use Jitto Sol, like I've recently been buying some Jitto Sol, which is kind of cool because it's liquidity provisioning rather than just staking. So just another cool concept. And the DCA, you know, that's what I covered on the last video. Really cool. They've also now got perps as well, which is really cool. So that's something that's worth checking out if you know how to trade, of course. If you don't, then probably learn how to trade first, but they go up to 100x leverage, which is pretty nuts. So they've got perps now, which is really cool. And they've got the bridge compare. Just a lot of really cool things. Like, this is your one-stop shop for trading tokens on the Solana network. Really, let's be honest, it's really that good. So come check Jupiter out and you'll see why this is probably going to be a really big candidate for sort of the main place that people go to for trading their tokens on the Solana network. So that's it for today's video. I just want to keep it with Solana and just one sort of token at a time, so I don't just have these massive 1 hour long videos like I tend to do. But nevertheless, if you want to stay up to date with what I've been doing, then just follow me on Twitter, essentially, because I post there as frequently as I feel is necessary. And I don't do videos as much, but you know, as we come into the bull market and people actually care, then I'll probably make more. And I got this new camera as well, which is not as good as my DSLR, but takes like half the time to set up and it tracks me. It's the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which is a really cool camera. And if you're looking for a cool vlogging camera, then that's really good in low light because of that 1-inch sensor, then I recommend that. And this is not a paid promotion, I'm just saying it's really good. Anyway, that's it for me for the day. The Solana trade is doing really well, and I'm sure anyone who's been following me is in it and kind of enjoying it. But yeah, don't get too greedy, I guess, and understand that when we got to pull the pin on it, we got to pull the pin. Hopefully don't get another fake out. We will have to see, but we are sort of getting into overheated territory, so we'll see how things go. And I guess we're just mainly following the Bitcoin chart to see how things are going on that front, and then we basically will probably just follow suit there. And the stock market's been going up as well, so there's going to be a little bit of euphoria there as well. But again, we haven't really been correlated to the stock market lately. Anyway, so we'll just have to see how things pan out, but I will do another video on Solana when we get that trend reversal or that short trade, I guess. But we'll have to see how long we have to wait, because this literally just gone an absolute tear. Like, it's gone up since the first signal. If we ignore this signal, which we won't, but we'll have a look at this breakout, right? So with this trend line, beautiful trend line here in this breakout. So let's have a look since there. Oh, wait, it doesn't even fit on the screen. That's how insane this is. So this breakout here, from here to here. Wait, we'll just go from there to the top was 245%. What the hell? That's insane. That's like a meme coin. Anyway, it's been insane. So hopefully you've been on the ride and you've been like me and you've just DCA'd throughout this entire time, even, you know, when people were saying this is dead, it's going to die. You know, I loaded up big time here, loaded up big time here. Like, that's just what you got to do, right? If you've got conviction, and this is what happens afterwards, you know. Anyway, here's what it is. So I'll do another video soon. So yeah, if you like this video, then please give it a like, leave a comment, let me know if you bought Sol, and if you are qualified for the airdrop, let us know in the comments how much volume you've accumulated, because I had no idea that I was actually accumulated as much as I did, but it's a great platform, Jupiter, so of course it makes sense that I managed to accumulate a lot. So anyway, keep safe out there. This is Kryptolytix signing out. Have a good one.